So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening and welcome to the first meeting of the year 2022, although it's our 958th meeting. So I welcome you all to our 958th meeting. Few ground rules to follow. You all are requested to turn on your videos and mute your mic unless you are asked to do so. Three topics which we encourage not to talk about. First of all, the politics, religion, and gender discrimination. With that, it's time to call our president. Let's give him a big round of applause. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, who is currently serving as District Director of District 122. Please welcome Toastmaster Talha. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran. And let me make a slight correction. We can talk about gender discrimination. What we cannot talk about is sex. So yeah. Secondly, it is amazing to see Toastmaster Shamsudeen once again back with us. He is one of our past presidents and a very senior and well-respected Toastmaster, and he always gives us something new to think about whenever he speaks. So for the benefit of we have one guest so far, Tahir Hussain. So Toastmasters is a worldwide organization headquartered in Colorado, USA, and its mission is to improve the leadership and communication skills of its members. Toastmasters runs Toastmaster clubs around the world, and right now there are more than 17,000 clubs. Pakistan right now has around 45 Toastmasters clubs in all the major cities, and Karachi alone has 11 or 12 clubs. Toastmaster not only improves the leadership and communication skills, but it also instills the values of respect, integrity, service, and excellence in its volunteer, because at its heart, Toastmasters is a volunteer organization where all of us members help each other out and take help from each other. So with that, I will ask our guest, Tahir Hussain, please introduce yourself, and also how did you hear about Karachi Toastmasters?
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Well, you already know my name, and I am Mohammad Tahir Hussain. Currently, I'm working as a manager special projects in Onelink, and I heard Toastmaster about recently I did one course in IBA, and there was a teacher and who told me about that if you want to improve your public speaking, so you can join Toastmaster, and which is also in Karachi. So a few days ago, I also talked to the Toastmaster representative, and today I got the link in my messenger. So I decided to join and to get some information what Toastmaster is doing and how can I improve my English public speaking skills. So that's all from my side, and it would be great up till now that I'm enjoying, and hope for that it would be helpful for me for my future goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, future Toastmaster Vakas, and welcome to the meeting. I believe that if you want to improve your public speaking skills, this is the ideal place. And our only request is that you enjoy the meeting, you stay throughout the meeting and share your thoughts at the end of the meeting. So with that, I will hand over the charge briefly to our VP Education for a bit of business. So Toastmaster Imran.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Talha. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, last week we had two meetings. First one, the Wednesday 956th, our regular meeting, and the second one was on Sunday, and that was our international speech contest. The highlights of the 956th meeting was, just give me a few seconds. Okay, if Ali Ashar is comfortable, Can we request Toastmaster Adi Asher to go with that if he's comfortable?
Toastmaster Ali, can you do the business session? I think maybe you should go ahead. He's just joined, so maybe he's not comfortably seated.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, last meeting we had quite an amazing and engaging meeting because all the three segments did the prepared speeches, the table topic session, and finally the evaluation segments. They were outstanding, I must say. The quality of the meeting was outstanding, and we had around 8 prepared speakers in last meeting. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so the highlights of 956 meeting, we have our best speaker, DTM Sarfaraz Nazir. Then we had best table topic speaker, Toastmaster Faisal Sheikh, and Toastmaster Ali Zargam. Then we had best critics choice for best speaker, and it was Toastmaster Javed Bhatti with his amazing and engaging speech. And the best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Anand Kadri. That was the highlight of 956th meeting. And finally, the 957, the international speech contest. Last Sunday, we had our final contest, that is international speech contest. It wasn't the final contest as far as club contests are concerned, but our district, this year our district has 5 contests, and for that it was our last contest. There were 8 contestants competed in the contest, and all were amazing, all were eloquent. There were 3, since there were only 3 positions, so the third position goes to Toastmaster Latif Mansoor Ali. The second position goes to Toastmaster Mariam Arif, and the first position goes to Toastmaster Anand Kadri. And from the 2 of them will compete, will represent KTC in area contest. With that, I would like to hand over the charge back to Toastmaster Talha. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran. And now it is time to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. Our Toastmaster of the day is someone who...
Sorry? I need to make correction. It wasn't Mariam Arif, it was Mariam Aftab.
No worries, old habits die hard. Mariam Arif also has been one of our stalwart performers. She always lands up on a podium in all the contests. And unfortunately, this year, she is, or rather, fortunately, she is too engaged in her studies. So that's why she could not participate. But of course, we all still miss her participation in the contest. And yes, Toastmaster Mariam, yeah, okay, we stand corrected. Don't worry, right? All right. So now it is time to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. And our Toastmaster of the day is someone who is very special to us. In a very short time of his association with Karachi Toastmasters Club, what we've seen from him is, first of all, stunning eloquence, and also commitment and let Masters Club and the Toastmasters in Pakistan. And throughout his journey so far, he has not shied away from getting up in the middle of the night or at a very ungodly hour from him, because he happens to be in Texas, USA. He has delivered some memorable speeches, and won countless Best Speaker awards, both critics and popular. And he has managed to upgrade all of us in terms of our public speaking skills in a short period of time. So if you really want to learn from someone who is not only a 3 times distinguished Toastmaster, but also World Championship of Public Speaking semi-finalist, you should come to Karachi Toastmasters Club, and only Karachi Toastmasters Club. DTM Sarfaraz, if you join any other club, please inform me in advance. So with that, please put your hands together for DTM Sarfaraz. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Talha, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. It is my honor to be your Toastmaster of the day. 2021 is now in our rearview mirror. 2022 is ahead of us. Farewell to the old and hello to the new year. We hope it is filled with optimism, hope, and dreams that come true. A new year to dream big dreams, to set big goals and achieve all that you are wishing for. May each hour, each day, each minute, and each month be filled with achievements that make your life full of joy. Hope the new year starts off bright and continues to shine throughout the year. And finally, may all your troubles last as long as your New Year's resolutions. I am the Toastmaster Day. I'm also the speaker. I'm also the evaluator, but there is no way that I can fulfill all the meeting roles as well. So at this time, I'm going to introduce our role players who will be helping us run an effective meeting this evening. Our first role player is distinguished Toastmaster Talha, who is the grammarian.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfaraz. As grammarian, my job will be to look out for grammatical errors and suggest corrections. My job will also be to look out for and celebrate good usage of language to the extent of my abilities. I will be presenting my report at the end of the meeting. Over to you.
Thank you. You're also the word master?
Yes, sir. Today, we don't have a word of the day. Instead, we have a phrase of the day. It's a French phrase, and it's pronounced, God help me, joie de vivre. DTM Sarfaraz, I believe I'm quite a bit like I'm almost there, right? Joie de vivre. And its meaning is the joy of life. So all of you are strongly encouraged to use joie de vivre in your speeches, in your table topics, in your roles. And I will be counting how many times this is used and making my report at the end. So by the way, I've used it 3 times already. Over to you.
Thank you. And will you be buying us a treat if we use the word?
Oh, yes, you can be sure of that, and using Toastmaster Rabia to deliver it to you.
Thank you. Our timer is Toastmaster Imran. Please explain your duties.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, my role is to make sure that the meeting proceedings are on time. There will be different timing for different segments. For prepared speeches, if the speech is from 5 to 7 minutes, my screen, but before that, I request every speaker to pin my screen so that he can finish his or her speech within time. If the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, my background will change into green at 5 minutes. At 6 minutes, it will turn into yellow, and 7 minutes, it will turn into red. This means the speaker has to wrap up his speech because after 30 seconds, he will be disqualified for voting. If a speech is 4 to 6 minutes, then 4 at green, 5 at yellow, and 6 at red. After 30 seconds, he will be disqualified. For table topics, the speaker has to speak for about 1 minute, 2 minutes, and 30 seconds. At 1 minute, my screen will turn into green. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, just a minute. Yes, at 1 minute 30 seconds, my screen will turn into yellow. At 2 minutes, my screen will turn into red. This means you have now 30 seconds left to wrap up your speech. After that, you will be disqualified. For prepared speech evaluation, the evaluators has to speak from 1 minute, from 2 minutes to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At 2 minutes, the screen will turn into green. At 2.5 minutes, the screen will turn into yellow. At 3 minutes, the screen will turn into red. Now the red signal will clearly shows that you have only 30 seconds left to wrap up your speech. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imran. Our counter today is someone who got to spend a lot of time with her kids because of coronavirus last year. And for 2022, she's looking forward to some physical interaction. She wants her child to go to school in person. Our counter is Toastmaster Mariam Aftab Kidwai. Toastmaster Mariam, will you explain your duties, please?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sure. And also, I want my daughter to go to school so I can rest. I need that peace of mind also. So now, yes, I'll be counting all the ums and filler words that have been used by any of the members during the meeting. And at the end, I'll be just presenting my report on that. I'll be counting on them. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mariam. Our listener is Toastmaster Hiba Rais Khan. Toastmaster Hiba, will you explain your duties as a listener?
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as a listener, I would be making note of all the interesting words and phrases spoken by the speaker during the session, the prepared speech session as well, and the table topic. And at the end of the session, I would be speaking out who spoke what, and the audience will have to guess it.
Thank you. And Toastmaster Hiba, you're also the joke master.
Yes, I am.
I'm sure you have some lovely jokes for us this evening.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests, how did Benjamin Franklin feel after discovering electricity? How did Benjamin Franklin feel after discovering electricity? Shocked.
Energized.
Why would doors do so well on social
Oh,
media?
shocked.
Why would doors do well on social media? Everyone looks for their handles. Why would doors do well on social media? Because everyone looks for their handles. What do you call a priest that becomes a lawyer? What do you call a priest that becomes a lawyer? A father-in-law. A wife is like a hand grenade. A wife is like a hand grenade. Take off the ring and say goodbye to your house. And the last one, why are hairdressers never late for work? Why are hairdressers never late for work? Because they know all the shortcuts. Over to the Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hiba, and thank you all the role players. Our meeting has 3 segments. The first segment is prepared speeches, during which Toastmasters prepare speeches and deliver speeches according to the pathways that they are following. The second segment is table topics, during which we get a chance to practice speaking while on our feet to help us think on our feet and to speak in impromptu situations. And the third and final segment is the evaluation, during which the speakers receive feedback from their evaluators so that they can improve their future speeches. We'll now begin our first segment, the prepared speeches. Our first speaker this evening is Toastmaster Zeeshan. She is following the presentation mastery pathway. Our evaluator is Toastmaster Qadri, who joined Toastmasters in March 2019. Toastmaster Qadri, please tell us what pathway and speech level is Zeeshan presenting this morning or this evening. Over to you, Toastmaster Anum.
Is TM Anam there even?
Toastmaster Anum?
Yes,
Toastmaster Adam
yes,
is there,
I'm
but
sorry, I got disconnected.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm facing a little internet issues here. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes.
yes.
Thank you, thank you. Toastmaster Hiba is going to present her speech today from a Pathways Presentation Mastery. It's level 4, named Managing Difficult Audience. The title of her speech is Office Politics. The purpose of her speech today is to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges when she presents outside of the Toastmasters Club. Her time limit is 10 to 15 minutes. Toastmaster Hiba Rais, Office Politics. Office Politics, Toastmaster Hiba Rais, over to you. Best of luck.
Okay, before I begin, am I visible and audible? Okay. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, did you hear what Sarah said to the boss yesterday? Did you hear about Imtiaz's increment, which he was supposed to get this month? Did you see the horrible colored shirt Ali was wearing today in the office? These are some of the office gossips we get to hear on a daily basis. Then there's the ever notorious comment, don't tell it to anyone, whereas everyone is telling the same thing to everyone. Offices are filled with people who gossip for nonsensical reasons. Then they are the same people who cut each other from different angles and do not tell vital information to a newcomer. The information is vital to the survival of a newcomer, for instance. Then old employees make alliances against a newcomer who they do not want to gel in, within the organization. They play group politics, as we all know. Group politics is something which is very dangerous. Group politics hampers the performance of an individual, and group politics is something which can give you nightmares. I, for instance, have suffered from office politics. Office politics can give you nightmares. It can make you feel miserable and lonely. Office politics is what I've faced in a few internships and a couple of jobs which I've done in the past few years. My first experience was while working in Dawn Spelling Bee. I remember it was my first ever job. I got it on the basis of my hard work. And when I started working, my seniors did not tell me vital information which was necessary for my survival. As a result, my performance hampered in front of the boss. I was made to look like a complete idiot, as the boss thought I was not motivated enough to perform well. Also, my seniors did not, a few of my seniors passed nasty comments upon me, which made my confidence level completely shattered. Then my, while working in an insurance company a few years back, some of the people over there started picking up on me for the way I worked, just for the sake of fun. This did upset me, and I left that place after a few months. And I ended up taking counseling so that I could mend my negative mindset. The counseling did affect me, and as a result of counseling, I did feel a bit better, but my motivation to work in an organization hampered. And I did not apply for quite some time, even though my parents, my friends did motivate me to, apply to different places, but my motivation was completely zero because of the fear of office politics. With the passage of time, it's been quite some time I haven't worked in an organizational setting. However, two good things have happened to me. First is that I've joined Toastmasters, which is a bunch of professional
Dinia, do you
people
want something?
which is a bunch of professional people
Please.
who
Have some
meet
tea.
together every
What
week.
fantastic tea you have made, Anam. That's an amazing tea. Like, how did you make it? Can you share the recipe?
That's kind
Would you
of
like tea?
we all need that.
Yes.
Share
Do
that.
please give
Everyone
me the
wants
recipe,
tea? Okay.
DM Talha. I also need tea at this moment
Well,
because
okay,
I
fine.
need to awaken my mental faculties. Okay.
You can come to our place and have excellent tea. Everyone is invited.
Thank you.
The
Okay.
recipe must be circulated to all speakers.
Yes. Okay. And with the passage of time, with the passage of time, it's been a few years since it's been a few years now since I've worked in a professional setting. However, two good things have happened to me. First is I've joined a Toastmasters, which is a bunch of professional people who meet every week to improve each other's communication skill. This communication skill has helped me to improve my self-confidence and self-esteem. And the second is that I have, on my mother's insistence, I have joined Karachi Vocational Training Center, which is an institute for physically and intellectually challenged people. They have helped me, and by going over there on every 4 weeks, in 4 days a week, it has helped me to meet professional people who have helped me to improve my people management skill as well as time management skill. And also it has helped me to reflect upon my past errors which I've done, past errors which I've made while working in an organization, and how I could have improved upon by communicating in a more effective manner with that person who I was having problems with. And overall, my process of recovery has been quite slow. I have had self-doubts on whether I would be able to perform a job well. I had doubts on my abilities and my capabilities of whether I would be able to perform a job effectively and efficiently. However, like everyone knows, time heals everything, and I have had quite a major recovery now. It's been quite some time, and in the end, the office politics is something which cannot be avoided. Office politics is everywhere, and I feel that now I am in a much better position to deal with office politics, and because office politics makes
Heba?
you I'm in a better position to deal with office politics because while having a job,
Toastmaster Hiba, Toastmaster Mariam wants to ask something.
Very good. Hiba, when you have joined the starting of your video, speech, you said you have joined the council also, sorry, consultant regarding this thing. So what's the difference between the consultancy and, that later on you joined two organizations that you have named? One is Toastmasters and the other one you have just named that. What is the difference between them? What is the difference?
Toastmasters is a non-profit organization which needs to improve communication skills of professionals, whereas Karachi Vocational Training Center is an institute for intellectually and physically challenged people, youngsters.
है वही non-profit, fees तो लेनी पड़ती है.
Yes, youngsters who study, basically they're vocationally trained and then they're given jobs. So that is the difference. And the people who are studying KBTC have all sorts of disabilities, from physical to speaking to, all the disabilities that you can imagine. Okay.
Oh, wow. So now you can give the training, Hiba. That's so cool.
It is. I'm a certified trainer.
Very nice.
Okay. Can children also apply?
Yes.
What is my daughter is 5.5 and she's really a troublemaker.
Okay. So in the end, office politics is because, like I said, job is something which makes you have a purpose in life. Having a job in life makes your mental and physical faculties align in a systematic manner.
Toastmaster Hiba, I have one question. If my boss is constantly bullying me, what should I do with that? How should I cope with that?
Boss is doing what?
If the boss is doing dirty politics, then how should I stop him?
Office politics is how should I stop him? Good question. I'll get back to you later. Okay, so office politics is something which is unavoidable. Office politics is something which comes part and parcel with the package of job package. And according to the famous author Guy Browning, office politics is how work is done. Office politics is how work is done, and it's sometimes you have to avoid it, sometimes you have to play it. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hiba. And thank you to all those disruptors. I'm now honored to introduce our next speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Sarfaraz Nazir. I have known him since the day he was born. Evaluating his speech is Toastmaster Shamam Khan. Toastmaster Shamam, will you tell us the objectives of his speech?
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to learn from your speech today. TM Sarfaraz, Toastmaster Sarfaraz, is going to deliver his Level 1, Project 2, Writing a Speech with Purpose. The speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose of this project is to learn to review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. So with that, I am looking forward to hear you, Toastmaster Sarfaraz.
Thank you. COVID-19 coronavirus has wreaked death, destruction, and devastation. Many people around the world would like to forget 2020 and 2021. Will you forget 2021 or will you remember it? There are three reasons why I will never forget 2021 and the gift that I received from COVID-19. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, Michael was a friend of mine. He was a past district director of District 50. On August 25th, I sent him a message because he was going through chemotherapy. Michael, how are you doing these days? He responded, I am going to Baylor Heart Institute for biopsy. Something has shown up on my lungs. I covet your prayers. The next day, he was admitted to the hospital because his oxygen level was too low. On September 11th, Michael passed away because of COVID-19 coronavirus. I mourn the death of my friend and a dedicated Toastmaster. Have you lost a friend to COVID-19? COVID-19 does not spare a friend or a relative either. After my parents passed away, my younger sister was my main link to Karachi. Her husband has also passed on. When I visited her, every morning she would ask me, Bhaijan, aaj kya khayenge? Brother, what would you eat today? On April 1st of last year, she called me. I did not know at that time that it would be the last time that I would talk to her. She tested positive for coronavirus. And on April 8th, she was admitted to PNS Shiva. She was there a few days. She was on ventilation, but her oxygen level stayed below 70. April 14th was the first day of Ramzan in Karachi. On that day, I received a message from a doctor at PNS Shifa. The message simply said, Inna lillah wa inna ilaihi raji'un. To him we belong and to him we shall return. I lost my sister, but I also lost my link to Karachi. Do you know someone who has lost a relative? When 2021 arrived, I looked forward to it because in September of last year, my wife and I were to celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary. After 40 years, you begin to take things for granted. When I can't find something in the kitchen, my wife says, how are you going to survive without me if I were to go first? In February, after all the precautions, my wife and I tested positive. Our doctor advised us to go and get coronavirus infusion that is given through an infusion, IV. It was a daunting decision, not knowing what the reaction would be. Should we get it or not? We decided to go and get it just in case. On March 2nd, we had lunch. After lunch, my wife did laundry. She fixed dinner. After dinner, I sat in front of the TV and turned the television set on. She began to wash dishes. A few minutes after 8 o'clock, she sat next to me and we began to watch a television show. I said something, she responded. But 10 minutes later, I saw something on TV and I made a remark about it. I did not hear any response. I looked and I found her spread in the chair, motionless. I panicked. I grabbed the phone, and for the first time in my life, I dialed 911, the emergency number. 911 operator, what's your emergency? It's my wife. I explained to her what was going on. She asked me, is she breathing? With an MBA degree and all my achievements, at that moment, I panicked. I answered, I don't know. I think she's breathing. The operator said, we will time her breathing. Oh, yes, I can do that because I have been a Toastmaster timer. She said, no. Whenever she takes a breath, say now, and I will time it. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I have 3 DTMs, and she does not think that I can be a timer. Well, after the ambulance arrived and they wheeled her out, I was told that I cannot go to the hospital because no one is allowed to go inside because of COVID-19. That night, I sat down back in that chair in front of the TV. I looked at the screen all night long, even though the television set was off. I realized that after 40 years, there was no way I could survive without her. I kept my eyes wide open because I was afraid that if I close my eyes, something bad is going to happen. 3 days later, she returned home. And life has never been the same ever since. COVID-19, coronavirus taught me that life is too short. Look at the death around us, how many people we've lost. And it taught me a lesson and gave me a gift that we should cherish every moment that we have with the people we love. Thank you, Toastmaster. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan, who is also following the presentation mastery pathway. And his evaluator is Toastmaster Sarfaraz Nazir. Toastmaster Sarfaraz, will you tell us what the objective of his speech is? Yes. Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan is giving level 3 speech, persuasive speaking. The purpose of his project is for Toastmaster Asghar to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech at a club meeting. The title of his speech is How to Identify Your Implicit Bias. How to Identify Your Implicit Bias. Please welcome Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan.
After a stunning speech, I mean, I just lost my opening sentences, but let me try. Mr. President, dear Toastmaster, and guest if there is any in the Zoom meeting. The year was 2011. I was sitting in a waiting area of a reputable elite private school regarding the admission for my daughter, when I saw a little fat, round-shaped girl loitering here and there as if she was chasing a butterfly. After a short while, a lady, apparently a teacher, appeared from nowhere and asked me about the girl. For identity confirmation, I inquired whether she was looking for a round-faced fat girl. So instead of saying yes or no, she, I mean, it seems to me was sitting on a gunpowder keg waiting to be explored. Excuse me, sir. She was not fat. She is beautiful. To prevent the worst to come, I immediately apologized. It worked and saved my day. Matter resolved. Storm over a teacup dissipated. And above all, I drew the comfort from the fact that no one was there to witness my embarrassment in the hand of by a lady teacher. But I didn't forget to collect my lesson. Dear Toastmaster, it was not a simple matter of one bad guy saying one bad thing and subsequently confronted and shamed by the school teacher. The very language we generally choose woefully inadequate, incomplete, and above all reflect our implicit bias. When I say implicit bias, I also need to describe explicit bias or explain explicit bias. Now, explicit bias is a bias that we are all consciously aware. Discrimination against women and the people of color are two primary examples of explicit bias. Oprah Winfrey talked about it. Maya Angelou wrote about it. When we say Oprah talked, Maya wrote, normally it means we all know about it. But explicit bias is unconscious bias, which is something very different. We are not aware about the unconscious bias, let alone talking and writing about them. And even if we are aware, we are often ignorant about the extent and pernicious consequences because these biases operate at unconscious level. Now, what I came to know later on that morning was more interesting. I found a huge mismatch between the rhetoric of the school administration and its action towards equality and inclusion. The same administrator who wanted to eliminate things like body shaming refused to admit disabled students, citing a school policy, and said that once the policy was announced, the process of admission would follow, something like that. I mean, she and the school system, to me, were equally suffering from the implicit bias, but hiding behind a policy document. In other words, consciously, she was deeply committed towards the inclusion and equality. Unconsciously, her behavior was inconsistent in what she behaved. So, or because implicit biases affect our decisions, actions, quite unconsciously. Now, we too were not the only culprit. I think we represent just a huge submerged tip of an iceberg. This type of implicit bias is widespread. Deriding or mocking the physical appearance is a matter of routine generally. Because, yes, there are certain exceptions. I do not rule out these exceptions, but they are nevertheless exceptions. But dear Toastmaster, I'm here today with a good news and a bad news. The good news is that we can identify and manage our implicit bias in a well-defined mechanism called mindful exercise. But the bad news is this type of bias does not disappear magically. We need to manage it, change our behavior, track our progress. Now, due to time constraint, let me share only two examples of mindful exercise. Firstly, we all can overcome our biases if we seek or get information from the people who have a different perspective. That teacher told me that perspective that morning in any school by forcing me to challenge my assumption regarding the body shaming. Secondly, I think we need to connect ourselves actually with the people who are who have the different experience from us. Now, when I started to interact with the people from the rural area, such as in Karachi, in early 90s, the experience has shaken me out of my rural mindset inertia and my entrenched ways of saying things. It has weakened some of the shackle of habits, and removed some of the blinkers from my sights and imagination. Today, I don't know about that lady in the school, about her perspective regarding the disabled children, but I cherished the beauty of every child and enjoy the company of the people from the different cultural background, including the member of this club. Dear Toastmaster, it's never too late to do good thing for our own interest. Today, I'm here to invite you to follow me. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Asghar. Our next speaker is distinguished Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid, who has been a member since September 2016. Last year, he was Vice President of Education, and KTC was #1 in the world in terms of education completions, and District 122 was #1 in the world also in terms of education awards per club. And this year in 2022, Toastmaster Talha is looking forward to spending more quality time with his kids and getting to know them better. He is following the persuasive influence pathway, and his evaluator today is Toastmaster Rusa Kamwal. Toastmaster Rusa Kamwal has been also a member since 2016. Toastmaster Rusa, will you please tell us the objectives of Toastmaster Talha's speech?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sarfraz. DTM Talha will be giving his project leading in your volunteer organization. The purpose of his project is to apply the skills needed to successfully lead in a volunteer organization and share some aspect of his experience serving as the leader in a volunteer organization. The title of his speech is Into the Unknown, and the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, DTM Talha.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Am I audible and visible? Anyone?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Okay. Thank you. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl. She had a basket full of dreams, and she was starting at the edge of a forest. She was about to follow the path laid down by people who came before her, and she thought it would be literally a walk in the park. She was sweet, innocent, tiny, but her ambitions were absolutely massive. As she started walking, she looked around her. The birds were braying, the maggots were meandering, the cockroaches were crawling, the wasps were whirring. It was another routine day in District 122, Territorial Council. She was the district director, and she was safe in the knowledge that the path she was treading had been paved by two people who came before her. And hopefully they had killed all the monsters. And she also learned that the big bad wolf had been taken care of by the previous district directors. And so she trotted merrily along, basket full of dreams and a head full of dreams and ambitions. slowly, the trees in the forest started to thicken. The light started to go down. And she found herself surrounded by absolutely terrifying creatures whose lights glowed in the night. She tried to gain her composure and kept trotting along, trotting along, trotting along. But she had lost her confidence. Oh, if only I can make it to Grandma's house, at least I'll be safe, was the only thought that was circling through her mind. And as the path darkened and lengthened, and she heard scary noises all around her, she spied Grandma's house from far away. And there was a big inviting light hanging, and there was a big board on it. And on it were written, World Headquarters. Oh yes, finally, I've made it. I've made it. So she ran and ran and ran and ran and burst open the door, expecting to find warmth and safety. What did she find? She did not find a big bad wolf. She found 7 big bad wolves. And they were all waiting for her. And she told those big bad wolves, oh no, I am not about to be fooled again. I know you're not my grandma. And the wolf said, oh yes, we are not your grandma. We are your children. What? What happened? What's happening? This journey was supposed to be so nice and pleasant. And then it turned out that those big bad wolves were actually the 7 sick clubs that we have. And they were about to swallow me. And after they would swallow me, they would wander out into the district and swallow each and everything in their path and destroy everything. I could only look up at the sky and ask God, why me? Where these wolves come from? The wolves were killed by the previous district directors. What are they doing in Grandma's house again? And a divine voice answered, everyone has their own journey, their own demons, their own monsters. What do you think? You would have it easy? Why would you have it easy? You have never had anything easy. Did you ever have anything easy in your life that you expected an easy journey this time? Of course not. So the little innocent Red Riding Hood currently is fighting those big bad wolves. In other words, she's trying to revive those 7 sick clubs that are plaguing her tenure as district director. In District 122 TC, we are exactly on path with respect to club growth and program quality. And of course, Karachi Toastmasters Club is a big cornerstone of that. We are once again leading the world in terms of education awards. We are showing growth where there is no growth in many other districts around the world. But one thing that threatens to swallow everything up, if these sick clubs are not revived, we do not get them to first 8 members and then 20 members by the end of the year, all of this can be destroyed. And to address that, we have created a special task force. And that task force is doing its deliberations. One good thing is that Little Red Riding Hood is not alone. There are so many people alongside her. Although, whenever it's time to go into the grandma's house, those people are nowhere to be seen. So the Little Red Riding Hood has to face the world headquarters alone and completely isolated. But after all, this is what she signed up for, right? You've heard the story of Red Riding Hood. There was only one. There were not 7 little Red Riding Hoods. Anyhow, now I'm hopeful that now that we have set out a course and we've devised a strategy to address the sick clubs, perhaps this journey will also be as memorable and pleasant as the journey made by the previous 2 district directors. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Talha. Toastmaster Imran, is Toastmaster Farina available? She's the next speaker.
We can move to Toastmaster Rabia. I'm in constant touch with Toastmaster Farina. If she's available, I will let you know.
Okay, thank you. And I guess our next speaker is Toastmaster Shamsudeen Memon.
Yes, he is present in the meeting.
Okay, so we'll introduce it. Toastmaster Shamsudeen. He has been a Toastmaster since 2015, but he recently joined Karachi Toastmasters. He's also presenting from the Presentation Mastery. His evaluator is Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid. Distinguished Toastmaster Talha, will you please let us know the objectives of his speech?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Today, it is my honor and privilege to be able to evaluate someone like Toastmaster Shamsudeen. And it's even more of an honor that I'm evaluating a new Pathways project for the first time, writing a speech with purpose. And to me, that actually results into a stunning discovery. Every other project in Pathways is without purpose. But anyhow, I got digressed. The purpose of this project is to learn to review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. The member completing this project is working to write a speech with purpose. The speech they create must be well-written and clearly focused. Their goal is to meet their express purpose statement with a well-executed speech. The member will present a well-organized, well-delivered speech. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses. The speech content and style should work well together. So everyone, please put your hands together or your virtual hands together for our past president and a distinguished speaker, Toastmaster Shamsudeen Memon. Over to you, sir.
Fellow Toastmaster, may I ask VP Education, am I visible and audible?
Yes, you are perfectly audible and visible.
Thank you, sir. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, can anyone here, present here, answer me why the countries of Southeast Asian bloc are not as developed as the other countries of the world? I'll appreciate if I could have some response from the audience. Any reasons, if anyone, any participant can figure out the way they think to analyze this question.
Lack of responsibility.
Great. Anyone else?
We tend to blame others, other countries, other people who had ruled us before.
That also seems to be contributing. Fellow Toastmasters, how about if we figure out the main reason being lack of education? Now, there are further analysis of this matter, like the types of education, difference between literacy and education, further analysis of literacy, and blah, blah, blah. But let's take up the core issue Out of the majority responses based on the consensus, the right response was considered as the lack of education. Fellow Toastmasters, why and how lack of education pushes a nation or a country backward? We have to dig out why and how. It has been observed by the management experts and philosophers that people who are less educated, they hardly know, they are generally not conscious about their basic rights. And when they are not conscious about their basic rights, they cannot exercise power. They can exercise their rights. Let's take the example of constitutional rights. What are basic constitutional rights? Can I have any responses from the participants?
Free speech.
Yes, that's great. Toastmaster Rana.
Free education.
Yes, that's
Health.
To a fact. But let's see
Roti kapda aur makan.
the way I observe the power to vote. Most of the people ignore the vitality and importance of this power. We generally ignore the fact that in the real democracy, in the form of parliamentary government, this only right helps out to determine who will be our prime minister. I'm not talking of the role of agencies. I'm not talking of the so-called media hypes. Let's see the way the term establishment is meant in our system and our environment. But so far the legal structure and a simple definition of law is concerned, the power of voting determines the elected brass of the country. Fellow Toastmasters, if this power to vote is not exercised intelligently and consciously, there is a risk that our sovereignty can be jeopardized. The national security is jeopardized. And if this power is utilized with the care and caution, it can secure the future of a nation. Because the people who come in power are the reflection of what people have chosen to elect. See, looking the same thing with another angle, the general progress, development of people, their well-being, their status depends on the elected brass of the country, which is again the creation of common people by way of the vote. Fellow Toastmaster, this analysis has vitally been ignored in the Southeast Asian countries. And let's remind ourselves that the power to vote is the most important element of our future. It can give a turnaround to our future, and it can destroy our well-being and our sovereignty and our future. Over to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shamsudeen. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan, who joined Toastmasters in March of last year and joined KTC in June of last year. She is speaking from the Engaging Humor pathway. Her evaluator is Toastmaster Imran Rana. Toastmaster Imran, please let us know the objectives of her speech.
Apologies, there is a change in her evaluator. Toastmaster Asghar will going to evaluate Toastmaster Rabia.
Okay, thank you. Toastmaster Asghar. Asghar.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. TM Rabia Zeeshan is one of the smiling Toastmaster, and it's good to know that she has just started a pathway from engaging humor. We all admired her for her, shall I say, joie de vivre, and she is going to start the new pathway. And today is her icebreaker. In today's speech, she introduced herself to the club and learned the basic structure of a public speech. So please welcome Toastmaster Rabia.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. Okay, so my pathway is effective coaching. It's not engaging humor, and I'll be giving my icebreaker speech today. Can you all hear me clearly? Yes, okay. It is the icebreaker though, and the name of the topic of my speech is the story of my name. Story of my name. Do names have stories? Well, my name does have a story. My name is Rabia Zeeshan. It's not a very happy story. The start of the story is a little sad, but it does have a joy de vivre in between for my parents. I have an elder sister. When she was 3 years old, my parents had twin girls, 2 little daughters, who were born too soon. They were born 2 months premature. They could only survive for a few hours, and my parents lost my 2 elder sisters. My mother had a hard time conceiving after that, and I was born in 1982. I repeat, not 1942, but 1982. So I was the 4th daughter of my parents. My name was Rabia, which means 4th, and Tabassum, which means smile. I was the 4th smile for my parents. So my name had an entire story behind it. I sometimes wonder that does my name has an effect on my personality? because that's the first comment I get from anyone I meet or anyone who knows me. And I'm always smiling and I'm always laughing and I'm trying to make other people smile too. And that is how my life has always been. Even when I was a child, I remember trying to make the classroom laugh, trying to do naughty things, or trying to make my friends and my teachers enjoy. And I was always very friendly. Any newcomer who came in the class, I thought it was my responsibility to greet them with a great, big, huge smile and welcome them to the class. Everyone was my friend due to my smile. And this continued. It was the same in the family as well. I was called the joy of the family, the ronak of the family. If I wasn't present in any event, it was supposed to be, oh, we are missing Rabia because she brings the joy in the events. And this is how it all went, because I started to feel that I was responsible to make everyone smile around me. And I was responsible to be the joyous one and to be the smiling one. And I took this role very greatly and I loved it. It went on the same way in college and in university. I was the one making everyone comfortable with my smile, all the newcomers, all the new batches, while everyone was trying to bully them. When we were seniors, I was the one who was welcoming them with a huge, great smile and making them at home in my university. And that is what continued even after my marriage. I thought I was responsible for making everyone happy and comfortable around me. No matter what I was feeling, I am supposed to be the smiling one. There came a time I felt obligated to smile and make everyone happy rather than being happy myself, because I was fulfilling my name's commitment or the character that my name had given me. So I started to think, what is there which is lacking? Why am I not feeling that joy d'hiver which everyone is talking about today? And it came that I was making people smile because I thought it was responsible and I was not doing it for my own self. And that is when I tried to try something new, to do something for myself. And I joined the Citizens Foundation and started to make even other people smile who were not related to me and who were not connected to me and who didn't wanted anything in return from me. This I did for myself. I carried on my character of the smiling lady, but this time I was making the children smile. I was making other mentors smile. And I was doing it for myself. So my name, I'm so sorry for the background noise. So my name remains the character, and I bring this smile and this character to the TCF, to the Toastmasters. Even now, I am said that I am the one who welcomes, and I'm always smiling. And I hope to continue smiling like that. And I hope that the story of my name goes far beyond to the entire world. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rabia. Our last speaker is Toastmaster Asghar Khan, speaking from...
Toastmaster Sarfraz,
Yes.
apologies for constant interruption.
That's okay.
We have Toastmaster Farina with us. So
Okay. Okay, so I'll go back and introduce her. And Toastmaster Imran, you're allowed 3 interruptions.
So it's already strike 2, right?
2. Yeah, you have 1 more before the meeting. So it is now my pleasure to introduce Toastmaster Farina Ansari, one of our newest members of Karachi Toastmasters Club. She is speaking from the presentation mastery. her second speech. Her evaluator is Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. Toastmaster Asghar, please let us know the objectives of her speech.
Now it's strike 3, I'm out. I'm the evaluator. Okay,
So you switched something. So 2.5 strikes. You have a half strike left. Okay, Toastmaster Imran, how about the objectives of her speech?
Okay, so fellow Toastmasters and guests, a very good evening. And today Toastmaster Farina Ansari will going to deliver her second project from Presentation Mastery. She is at level 1. She is at level 1. Okay. The purpose of this project is for the member to write a speech. The purpose of this project is to learn or review basic method for writing a speech with defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. Time duration is 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Rabia has just delivered her icebreaker speech, and we observed that was quite interesting and quite amazing icebreaker speech, and she is a good addition to Toastmasters, Karachi Toastmasters family. So good luck, Toastmaster Rabia. The stage is yours.
Sorry, since my corrections are not being counted, let me take the liberty. It's Toastmaster Farina. You may want to correct yourself.
Yeah, he just gave her a new name.
I think he's in the office. Are you in the office?
He's always in the office.
This is the third time he has done this mistake.
It's okay, I forgive you.
Toastmaster Farina.
Thank you so much, everyone. Fellow Toastmasters, I have really struggled with coming up with a speech for today's topic, with a topic for today's speech, pardon me. I wanted it to be something that I feel really passionate about so that I could easily talk about it. So I sat down, I brainstormed, I reflected on my life, and I came up with absolutely nothing. This was quite a rude and shocking revelation for me. Am I really passionate about nothing? What sort of a person am I? But before getting consumed by my existential crisis, I picked up my cell phone. I opened a new note and I started writing. I wrote about how dejected I was feeling and why. After pouring out my feelings through words over a couple of minutes, I saved the note and exited the app. That's when I realized that I have dozens of such notes saved on my phone. Scrolling through them, it dawned on me that there is something that I'm really invested in, that I do on a consistent basis, and that is writing. Ladies and gentlemen, I finally found my topic. So why do I write, and why do I want to talk about it today? I want to tell you how writing has helped me and how it can be used as a constructive manner of expression. So let me take you back to when I was 12 years old, when my mom gave me this beautiful diary. It had a floral patterned cover and it had light purple pages inside. Pretty girly, I know, but what caught my attention was that it had a small golden lock and key. Such a small thing, I know, but I was captivated. I was enthralled. Until then, I had only been an avid reader, but this diary invited me to become a writer. The lock and key were the assurance I needed that my words and my thoughts are mine and mine alone. Needless to say, I'm not really comfortable with sharing my thoughts with anyone else. But there is something that I like to tell everyone about myself today. I'm an extremely emotional person, and as you can imagine, this makes me quite volatile and ready to combust at any minute at the slightest provocation. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Before, I used to be vengeful. I could hold a grudge till eternity. I could easily sever ties with people who hurt me. And I was the queen of the silent treatment. Nothing to be proud about, of course. But writing my little notes helped me change that. They taught me to be patient, and they sort of calmed me down. Whenever I wrote, I would calm down and I would get over that anger or just furiousness that I was feeling. For me, writing is a form of expression, of catharsis, and of control. It helps me to focus and make sense of my emotions instead of just mindlessly lashing out. I write when I want clarity, when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, when I'm confused, or even when I'm disappointed. It has become my preferred mode of expression and helps me cope with difficult feelings and situations. When I write, all my focus and all my energies go towards articulating my thoughts and what I'm feeling instead of just wallowing in negative feelings and misery. Trust me, I have avoided so many fights with so many people, so many friends and family members, in fact, just because I write. You have no idea, by the way. And this got me thinking, what if I could share what has helped me? You never know, it could be just the thing that someone else needs to express themselves, especially in these times when we're surrounded by negative news on TV all the time and the fake lives of some social media influencers. Not all, some. I feel it's necessary to take a moment to reflect on what we're thinking. This brings me back to the purpose of my speech today. I want to urge everyone to start writing, be it 2 sentences or a page or 10, it doesn't matter, just do it in whichever language you want. It could be a story, or it could be a description of a beautiful landscape that you've just seen, or maybe even just a rant. I read somewhere once that we write to taste life twice, in the moment and in retrospect. So whenever I look back at my notes in my phone, I can see how I've changed and the mistakes that I'm still making. In fact, I'd like to share that I'm learning French these days. So sometimes I write my notes in French. So this helps me in 2 ways. I get to practice a new language and I get to express myself in a positive manner, except when I'm angry at my husband. Then I use a combination of English, Urdu, and French. So fellow Toastmasters, my message to you today is go ahead and write your heart out. I guarantee you'll be surprised. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Farina. Fellow Toastmasters, if you have read the agenda and memorized it, you may have noticed that out of 8 speeches, the objective of 3 of them was write a speech with a purpose. What a joy of life, joy de vivre. Toastmaster Talha, I had to work that in somehow. And now finally, our last speaker. Is that correct, Toastmaster Imran? Our last speaker is Toastmaster Asghar Khan, speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway. His evaluator is Toastmaster Ali Asghar Anjum, who joined Karachi Toastmasters last year in March. Toastmaster Ali Asghar is glad that he accomplished some of his teenage dreams last year and is looking forward to accomplishing some more teenage dreams this year. And I hope that someday he will let us know what her teenage dreams are. Please welcome TM Ali Asghar Anjum, letting us know the objectives of TM Asghar Khan's speech.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, distinguished Toastmaster Sarfaraz. And my targeted speaker is is Toastmaster Azhar Khan, and his project is negotiate the best outcome. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different types of negotiation and the strategies that can be used in the negotiation. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of past or a future negotiation in his life. So best of luck, Toastmaster Muhammad Azhar Khan. Over to you.
Assalamu alaikum for the Toastmasters and guests. I hope you are doing well. What is the benefit of the negotiation? It's my question for everyone. Please unmute your mic and share one word. This is my question. What is the benefit of the negotiation?
To get maximum benefits in minimum amount.
Okay. And second, another person.
Win-win situation.
Great.
To get discount.
Seizing maximum opportunities
Example.
in a given time.
Yes, consumer time. Everyone has a different angle, different story, and different experience. I know, because some guys are working as a businessman, some guys are working as a something else, freelance and job. So today now I'm sharing to as an entrepreneur, I'm sharing to my personal experience. And in the speech, you will tell me, you will inform me now what I got, what I lost. Okay. Now I want to share my personal experience. What I learned from that experience. I wanted to make a sports kit. Recently, I organized one event, so I wanted to make one, not one, lots of kits for the billiards. I started to find out different vendors. One vendor quoted me the very high. She shared me the very high expensive quotation. I shocked because I didn't have any budget. So that was not in my range. I went to market directly and started connected to different vendors. But this time I was visiting a different vendors' factories and shopkeepers and different areas. Because I want to start from the scratch. I had time for this event. So that was good experience. No, that is very painful for me. But I want to explore new option, new ways, new market, something new. Every startup takes some sacrifice and take time. If you want to execute new idea in your life, it means you have to pay something like your time, your money, your mental and physical, each and everything. It means you leave your social, personal and professional life. It's my opinion. Without pay, you can't get anything. Anyhow, I started to meet different vendors and start the negotiation. First, I started with the raw material person and then shopkeepers and pattern master, cutting masters and digital printer vendors, then stitch tailor. It's a whole process. I met different vendors and started negotiating one by one. Then every single vendor was giving a very tough time. Because negotiation is a very easy task. That was a very painful experience. But I had completed my task. Then I calculated my whole exercise, what I got and what I lost. 8 days without any break, I disconnected to all my family members, my professional, personal life, my social life, even my Toastmaster, because I wanted to complete that task. And continuously I negotiated with every single vendors. Just And then I saved some money after long negotiation and different exercise. That was a new learning for me. How can you deal with your cloth market, and how can you deal your tailor master or stitch master? Because that is something different, a new experience. And I working in advertising marketing company. I saw that different vendors, but that is a one new for me. But in future, I will have the good and charm project, good project, then I will try like this. Otherwise, I should try or not. Exactly, I have no idea, because 8 to 10 days I never forget in my life. So in the end, what's your opinion for my this negotiation part in my real life story? So every person you can give the one words of should I try like this or not? But now I have experience. And then what do you say? Anyone have any recommendation or any suggestion?
Well, I think you should try different approaches to see which one works the best. I think you should always experiment with your negotiation strategy.
Yeah, as a learner, so I should try, because now I have experience, and next time I will do easily. I will complete without any hurdle and barriers. Because this experience, before this experience, I didn't have any like this, but now I knew each and everything. Anything else? No. Okay, but it's my opinion for myself. Next time I will try one more thing. Means one day maybe I will be good, good entrepreneur, good businessman. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Asghar. That concludes our first segment of today's meeting, the prepared speeches. We are glad that that segment is over. We're also glad that 2021 is over. I've heard that in Pakistan especially, men or some men, after they lose their wife, go out and marry a 20-year-old. Personally, I believe that no 20-year-old can replace a 40-year-old marriage. And now we come to the second segment, which is the table topics, impromptu speaking. Our table topics master for today's meeting is Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan. If there's a speech contest, you'll find her there. She was introduced to Toastmasters last year, and this year she is looking forward to the restart of TCF Rabber in-person meetings. She's also looking forward to the TEDx talk, which will raise funds for 4 TSF schools. Please help me welcome our table topics master, Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan.
Toastmaster Rabia, we can't hear you.
Okay,
No.
before starting, I have to interrupt for one more time.
Okay, so we are not going, we are going backwards, so go ahead. You are on interruption number 2.
Okay, before that, Toastmaster Sarfraz, before calling Toastmaster Rabia, please ask for qualification.
Okay. Toastmaster Imran, did all speakers qualify?
Yes, all the speakers are qualified. Just want to need about Toastmaster Hiba. She ended up in 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Her time was 10 to 15 minutes.
I think that makes her qualified because she met
Yes.
the minimum time.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So everyone is qualified.
So please vote for your best speaker. Toastmaster Imran, are you going to send out the voting list?
Toastmaster Talha, since you have a tech host, right, could you please share the polling?
It will take a while. Meanwhile, let's continue with the next segment, and
Okay.
I can float them.
Thank you, Toastmaster Talha. And now, please welcome once again our table topics master, Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan. Toastmaster Rabia, it appears you are talking, but we cannot hear you.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much for introducing me for the third time in this meeting today. And excuse the background noise because I'm traveling at this time. 2021 reflections and 2022 beginnings. Reflections, amazing reflections for me because I was introduced to the Toastmasters Club and it opened a new door to the world for me. And for the beginnings, more new doors to come with me going to the international stage, inshallah, with the Leaders Worldwide TEDx event. So today we are talking about reflections on 2021 and beginnings of 2022. For my first table topic, I would like to call Toastmaster Mohammad Bakar. Is he still in the meeting? Yes, okay. Toastmaster Bakar, what was the most disappointing moment of 2021? What was the most disappointing moment for you in 2021? And the word and the phrase of the day is joy de vivre.
Toastmaster Bakar, are you there? I think you can move on to the next speaker and then maybe come back to him. Toastmaster Rabia.
Okay, sure. So I would like to call now Toastmaster Zara. Toastmaster Zara, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
Zara
here.
Ibrahim.
Yes, I'm here.
Is she here or has she left? She's here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So for the, do you make New Year resolutions? And if yes, do you keep them? Do you make New Year resolutions? And if you do you keep them? And the phrase of the day is joy de vivre.
Thank you very much, table topic master, Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hope you're having an amazing day with the beautiful weather out here in Karachi. And moreover, when it comes to New Year resolution, in last meeting in my club, Dawa BHM Toastmasters Club, I was basically the I was the Toastmaster of the day. And the theme which was being told to me, when our president, the VP Education asked, what will be the theme? So the theme of our meeting was New Year resolution. So this topic is so much relatable to me. And moreover, I have given everyone from the audience the chance to, talk about their New Year resolution, what they have in their minds, or their, me speaking a lot. So that was something, a different approach. And moreover, this year, which I will say 2022, I have written, definitely I write my New Year resolution. So there are plenty of things. So the few, and I think there are 5 or 6. So what I wrote were basically, to have, there were plenty of them, but I will mention 4 to 5. So basically what I wrote, to prioritize your mental health. So first was that. And the second was not to eat junk and, do exercise, walk, and to prioritize your, health. So the other one was to not trust everyone in your life. So I have a lot of people out there, in my life whom I trusted a lot, giving them chances. You can't trust everyone in your life. So this thing need to be changed. And the other thing which I mentioned, which was in top, was the to just be happy and live in your present. So I don't know, I'm on my phone, so I think I it's already read. So all from my side, Jodi Vivri feeling I have now. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Zahra. For our next table topics, I would like to ask Toastmaster Shamil Shahryar, are you available for impromptu speech? Toastmaster Shamil?
Yes, I'm available. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. So the topic for you is, how was the transition from COVID lockdowns to partial lockdowns to smart lockdowns to no lockdowns? How was the transition from COVID lockdowns to partial lockdowns to no lockdowns at all? The phrase of the day is joy de vivre. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Toastmaster Talha.
I'm not the one learning French. Ask Toastmaster Farina.
Toastmaster Shamil Shahryar, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rabia. How is my experience from since 2020? If I'm being honest, it didn't affect me at all. I mean, because the class I live in okay, how to say this? It didn't affect me at all. I mean, besides wearing mask, which was very pain in the ear, and but everything else was just normal. The only thing that was very painful was just watching the news. Despite we have to be locked down, there were still tragedies occurring. And during this crisis, we had to move from another home, which is now in Malik Kent. But it wasn't due to the COVID-19. It was because due to my father's retirement. So in conclusion, it was sort of joy de vivre. Over to you, TM Rabia Zeeshan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shamil Shahryar. Do we have guest Tahir Hussain with us? And will he be Toastmaster guest Tahir Hussain? Will you take a topic for us today?
No, he's not there.
See him.
Yeah, he's not there.
He's not there.
Yeah.
He left. Okay, Toastmaster Ali Asharanjum.
Yes.
Okay. So the topic for you is, what was the most disappointing moment of 2021? And the phrase of the day is joy de vivre. What was the most disappointing moment of 2021?
Okay. So the most disappointing moment of 2021. I guess the 2021 is one of the most important year of my life because it's gave me many lessons, and I think that the disappointment is a good thing because it's helps uh, you to become stronger for the future. And I think the most disappointment moment of my life would be the 22nd December when I got the regretful email from a university that there are 1,600 applicants, and you are not selected for that thing. Although I was hopeful, and yes, it hurts, but I think that it was a part of life, and it's helped uh, me to look upon myself and think that okay, I have to do something extra. I have to inculcate skills, knowledge, so I can be one of the most eligible for them next time, or in any other university. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Aliyashar Anjum. Do we have Toastmaster Mohammad Bakir in the meeting, and is he available for a speech?
Toastmaster Bakir is not available for speak.
Okay, then that's a wrap from me. And we go back to the Toastmaster of the evening, GTM Sarfaraz. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rabia. Fellow Toastmasters, tomorrow is the first blank page of a 360-page book. You're starting with a blank page. You're supposed to write your own story for 2022. You must write your own story, because if you don't, someone will write your story for you. And now I would like to introduce our table topics evaluator. But before we do that, did all the table topic speakers qualify, Mr. Timer?
Yes, all
Yes,
the
sir.
speakers are qualified.
So, distinguished Toastmaster Tala, will you sending out the voting
No.
poll for table topics, or is it
No,
Toastmaster Imran?
I refuse to do that, and neither will Imran. I forbid him from doing that because our vote counter is Toastmaster rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So she will be
Could
floating
someone
that.
just repeat the names? Could someone just repeat the names after Zara Ibrahim?
Okay, I think that
Toastmaster Shamil and finally
Zara Ibrahim, Toastmaster
Aliyashar.
Shamil, and
Okay.
Toastmaster Aliyashar Anjum.
Aliyashar Anjum.
thank you. While we are voting for the best tabletop speaker, I'll ask Toastmaster Imran Rana to please provide his evaluation of the table topics.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan conducted quite an interesting and thematic table topic session. So hats off to Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Zara Ibrahim, and her topic was New Year resolution. So Toastmaster Zara, you started quite well. You were pretty much confident while speaking. You had a very good message that that one should write New Year resolution, and one should work upon that resolution as well. Few areas of improvement, I would suggest that instead of using filler words, you may take what do we say, meaningful pauses, so that it won't look odd. If from my observation, you use the word and so basically quite a number of times. Overall, it was quite amazing speech. Our second speaker was Toastmaster Shamil Shahriar. Toastmaster Shamil Shahriar, what I love about you is that you are an honest speaker. You say whatever you want to say. I like the way you take pauses. You spoke quite well about the speech. All I can suggest you to please attend the meetings regularly so that you get you can become good confident speaker. Finally, we had Toastmaster Ali Asghar Anjum. Disappointing disappointment of 2021. Toastmaster Ali, you took the topic positively and said that disappointments are good and they teach you how to learn and to improve well. And you brought your personal story about applying in the university, and unfortunately you didn't succeed, but you never lose your heart, and still you are learning from that disappointment. Throughout your speech you were quite confident, and I like the way you use your hand gestures. Just keep on delivering. You have so many things to teach us, so congratulations on such an amazing speech, and all the speakers were amazing. So with that, I would like to hand over the charge back to Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Sarfraz Nazir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Imran. In the new year, will you write a new chapter, new verse, or just the same old story? The choice is yours. And now we move into the third and final segment of our meeting, the evaluation. To lead this section, please welcome our General Evaluator, Toastmaster Ali Asghar Anjum.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Sarfraz Nazir, for inviting me for the general evaluations. So Toastmasters, we have done with 2021 in, I must say, a roller coaster for all of us, so many ups and downs, and now we are starting at 2022 with hopes, with enthusiasm, zest, and zeal, and with a commitment to learn from our mistakes. And here we are in our first step towards learning, that is evaluation. So for the very first step, I am like to invite Toastmaster Anam Kadri to evaluate our first speaker, that is Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan. Over to you, Toastmaster Anam Kadri.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ali Asghar Anjum. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, have you seen a deer? What does he do? By nature, it is its attribute that it camouflages itself in order to escape its enemy or escape its contender. In winters, it becomes gray and the white spots appear on its body so that it camouflages with the snow. And in summers, those spots disappear so that they can move into the wild and get blended into that. Today, Toastmaster Hiba Rais proved her mettle by telling us that the disruptors only are not the ones who can confidently disrupt you and try to disengage you from your speech, but the speaker can prove himself really well by picking up their stance and proving that yes, they can overcome this disturbance pretty well. I commend you, Toastmaster Hiba Rais, for doing such a great job, despite the fact that there were disruptors who were doing it continuously, although we are allowed to do it just once. But then you picked up your pace, and in the end, you actually did it really well by submitting to what they were saying and actually saying, yes, you were right. And you just to make space for your speech and to deliver your message as well. Although your topic was pretty political, office politics, and it is a very touchy topic, especially with the men, most of the men attending the Toastmasters meeting today. But I really liked it, how you coped it so well. And you you proved yourself really well. You started off with great body gestures, moving ahead, emphasizing your point. But then in the later speech, I found that you were standing in the middle, although it's a very good posture standing in the middle of the screen, but there were a lack of the body gestures, So it could have been well, and you could have been more showing your movements so that it proves that yes, you are still confident enough to face them and to answer them accordingly. And second thing, whenever anybody tries to interrupt you, never shake your hands like this, because it gives an impression that, okay, we are done. The disruptors get this feeling, yes, we did it, and we actually disturbed her. So don't ever give this benefit to the others that yes, they were successful in doing it. In fact, prove your confidence and show it by your movement and by your gestures. You were visible enough, you were very vocal, and you answered all the questions pretty well. Just one thing, whenever giving your speech, please try to put your background in lighter shades so that you are highlighted and we get a better view of your body gestures and your better attention towards your speech. Next time, Toastmaster Heba, if anybody tries to stick you up in any answer, just tell them, let's research it like the teachers do, and let's see who comes up with the best answer. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anamtagri. A good evaluator is like a good teacher, and our previous evaluator was a teacher. So now let's move towards our next evaluator, and that is another lady, Toastmaster Shamam Khan, and she is going to evaluate distinguished Toastmaster Sarfaraz Nazir. Do we have Toastmaster Shamam?
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Asghar, the general evaluator. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Okay. So the gift from COVID-19. Toastmaster Sarfaraz, I'm awestruck with the interlinking of destruction and devastation of COVID-19 with a lesson learned like cherish every moment. You engaged me well. Toastmaster Sarfaraz demonstrated effective presentation construction with his pauses when he was asking questions. Will you forget 2021? Have you lost a friend in pandemic? These were the questions that actually were tuning me to what he was about to tell and was keeping me engaged. His pace with which he made me visualize the discomfort of, hearing bad news about deaths was outstanding. His stories, like compelling stories, are by far the most effective way to engage audience, and you did it well. And I appreciate how you maintained the pace of the story throughout your speech. Then I really appreciate the powerful descriptions that you used. Motionless, life never be the same. These were so appropriate to feel your pain that you were trying to communicate with your speech. What needs to be taken into consideration, though, is giving a speech purpose statement. That was missing in your evaluation form, and that is the requirement to basically have a good score when you are really trying to have a speech with a defined purpose. So I felt a little lost when I could not find a reference to correlate your speech style and organization with your defined purpose statement. So that was the only thing that there he lost his scores. Otherwise, the delivery technique was wonderful with the pitch, the ups and downs in his, in his voice that set the tone of sadness, the physical gestures that Sarfaraz used, and facial expressions that he was using with the movement of his eyes, the eyebrows and hands were amazingly dramatic, and that kept me engaged. So overall, Toastmaster Sarfaraz, made us learn the importance of joie de vivre in French. But it will be better to have a defined speech purpose statement, at least for the evaluate, to see more effectively of did your speech serve the purpose. I look forward to keep hearing your speeches as always. I was enlightened to evaluate because I got to learn a lot. All the best to you, Toastmaster Sarfraz. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shimao. Now let's see who is the next evaluator. Oh, wow. Now the prey is the predator. This means that now the who was a speaker is now the evaluator. So our speaker was Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan, and he is going to be evaluated by DTM Sarfraz Nazir.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. It is my honor to evaluate your speech, Toastmaster Asghar. Thank you for reminding us of our implicit and explicit biases. I liked your speech for 3 reasons. First, you opened with a story. That was great, because when a speaker opens their speech with a story, it grabs our attention. And we want to listen more to what the speaker has to say. I also liked your speech because you explained all the terminology that you used in your presentation. You explained to us what implicit bias is. But in order to make us understand it better, you went on to explain what explicit bias is also. And that's great, because if you had not explained all your terminology, some of us would have been lost. What exactly do you mean by it? So that was good. The third thing I liked about your speech was your very good use of the English language. You used some of the flowery words in your speech. For example, pernicious. So I liked your speech because you opened with a story, you explained all the terminology that you used in your speech, and your good use of the English language. How about some tips for improving your future speeches? When you started, you said, I have forgotten my opening. Now, as a listener or as a member of the audience, I did not know that you had forgotten. So I feel that you did not have to say that you have forgotten your opening. You could have pretended that you're trying to adjust your camera or your laptop or your equipment while you were thinking of your story that you were going to tell us in your opening. This way, by telling us you have forgotten, or by telling us when a speaker makes a mistake, you are highlighting the mistake. Secondly, I would recommend that when you use some fancy words in your speech, that you consult a dictionary like dictionary.com, and you can check out the pronunciation of it, how exactly to say the word. For example, in your speech, you said shackle, and I think you meant to say shackle. So overall, I liked your speech because of your opening with a story, your explanation of the terminology, your good use of the English language. Improve your speech by not telling us that you forgot your lines, and pay attention to your pronunciation. I look forward to your next speech. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfraz Nazir. Now, we have another DTM, but on the speaker side, and he is none other than distinguished Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid, and he is going to be evaluated by the immediate past president of Karachi Toastmaster Club, Toastmaster Urusa Kawar. Over to you, Toastmaster Urusa.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. DTM Talha, you presented a speech today that sounded new. totally new. And you kept me hooked, at least. Maybe because I like stories, but because a few days back I came across an article that said that among a few tools that Aristotle gave his people uh, regarding the art of persuasive speaking, um, storytelling and the use of metaphors were among the top two. And your speech was full of both. And according to even Aristotle's standards, I believe that your speech today completed the objective of the speech and persuasive speaking. You crafted a story that was really interesting regarding leadership, and it was relatable, understandable, and it was really approachable because you brought the whole idea of leadership to a very small size. What I really liked about your speech, you had really appropriate and well-placed pauses, and you placed them really carefully. Secondly, your gestures were really appropriately placed, and in places they were placed instead of words, like when you look back instead of actually wording it in your speech. What I could have been improved in your speech, maybe the placement of camera, because you seem to cut off yourself, your gestures very, I cannot see when you're gesturing a little below. Other than that, I love the way your speech flowed. I love the way you used the Red Riding story and mixed it with the district mission and everything. Wonderful storytelling technique and everything well done. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rusa, for the ever concise and brief evaluation. Now let's move towards the next speaker, Toastmaster Shamsudeen Mem, and he is going to be evaluated by another time. Praise the Predator, DTM Talabid Ham. DTM Tala, please unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. So I can start again. Good. Okay. Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Shamsudeen, today you gave a speech that honestly for me was very hard to evaluate because it had some merits that we rarely see in many of our speeches. You engaged the audience right off the bat with engaging questions, and you kept the audience engaged through the first half of your speech. And your questions were designed to make us think exactly in sync with the topic of your speech. So that was expertly done. And the questions, the pauses that you gave for people to answer those questions, and the way you continued after those questions is one element that I think stands out in your speech today. You had a clarity in language because you always have this very deliberate and careful speaking style. You had very good gestures, which I formerly did not see from your side, but today, even though you were sitting, you used gestures very well. I absolutely love the way you involved the audience and used the audience involvement as transitions, which is very rare to see because you punctuated your speech with the questions you posed to the audience and you use the answers to those questions as transitions in your speech. So very well done. Some improvement areas, first of all, I believe you had a power outage, so the lighting was not ideal, and your frame also was too close, just like my frame is, and just like it was just pointed out to me. So, but do as I say, not as I do. You should use more of your, you should be farther away from the PC or laptop or whatever you're using. And I believe that seriously hampered your gestures. It was hard to make for me, and secondly, it was hard for me to identify a single purpose in your speech. Perhaps it was lost in transition somewhere. I believe that initially you set out to make us realize the importance of education, but then you transitioned into the importance of voting. So I believe your speech suffered a little bit from this dual approach. It would have been better if you had focused on one thing. And perhaps, again, let me repeat, perhaps there was a connection between the two. And perhaps that connection was that better education leads to better voting decisions. But perhaps that transition was missing for me. I could not notice that transition. To challenge yourself, try to accelerate your pace of speaking, because sometimes your slow and deliberate pace can actually cause the audience to lose interest. And you could have also shed more light on the very interesting aspect that you highlighted, which is the difference between education and literacy. Perhaps you could have expanded on it a bit more, because that would have added more substance to your speech. But overall, a speech well done, just a little bit clarity of purpose that I missed. Other than that, I believe you have achieved the objectives of your project. Over to you, General Evaluator. 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Talab bin Hamid, for your multiple tasking and very good evaluation. Now let's move towards our next speaker, and our next speaker is Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan, and she is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster Ramzan, a very hardworking man of our club, Toastmaster Ramzan.
Thank you. Thank you, Journal Evaluator. I'm going to evaluate Team Rabia despite the fact that I'm not Imran Rana. Toastmaster Rabia, only one word can aptly describe your speech. Unfortunately, I cannot pronounce that word properly, despite consulting 3 authoritative dictionaries. But let me describe it what Chamber says. It says it is joie de vivre. And the fact that TM Farina knows French and DTM Sarfaraz has just warned me to exercise caution, further exacerbate my condition. But let me come to the speech. I think do names have a story? I haven't any idea about it, and just came to know that they in fact do. Thank you for the speech that starts from smiling and ended with a smile. Unfortunately, you put some sadness into the story while talking regarding your 2 eldest twin sisters. But it's still sadder the fact that you mentioned 1982. We thought it was 1992. Had you not told us about it. You talked about your smiling history from your childhood till your school days and then the college, university days, and even as a wife. The smiling nature refused to change. It's very good to call it an obligatory smile. We all expect you to come in our meeting with the same nature. It's very rare, and we are in a dire need of it. What can I suggest you is, had you delivered your speech in a standing posture, it would have been more effective. Secondly is monotony or monotonous of your speech. Basically, it is my own weakness, and I always hate to see my weakness in my colleagues. It is something really hit me, and it's something you must revive. Lastly, we would have been happier if you talked more than one aspect of your life, about your family, about your colleagues, that would have diversified the whole speech. But all in all, it was a great speech. We know at least one important aspect of your life, and thank you letting us know about that aspect. Over to you, Journal Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asghar, for the wonderful evaluation. If I'm going to deliver that speech, so my topic for that particular speech would be the fourth smile. So now let's move towards our next uh, speaker, and she is Toastmaster Farina Ansari, and her evaluator is, I guess, Toastmaster Imran Rana. I guess.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Go ahead and write your heart out. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today Toastmaster Farina Ansari delivered an amazing, beautiful, and well-knitted speech of ideas. Congratulations on that. You started with a personal story, and personal stories are always engaging and attention-grabbing. The way you described the pink book with a small lock and key was amazing. The vivid language you used was outstanding. The way you were describing that notebook was quite interesting and quite engaging. You started with an interesting opening that what you were thinking about what to write about the speech. Then you suddenly got an idea about scrolling your mobile, and then you told us about the speech that you love writing. So it's a wonderful thing that you should deliver those things which you love to do. So I like the way you can bring the humor when you were describing that since you are learning French language, but when it comes to your husband, you can speak French, Urdu, and English language quite well. So that was quite amazing and quite engaging. Throughout your speech, I found that you were monotonous. So you may bring some vocal variety to bring to create some impact. And one more thing which I observed in your speech was that that if you could bring some meaningful pauses, since when you speak, you constantly speak, you need to bring some pauses. That will create a good impact in your speech. That will create that will give some value to your speech. Overall, it was quite a wonderful speech. Means it fulfills all the objectives. Your speech has a wonderful purpose that writing can give you good knowledge instead of wasting your time on watching dramas and other stuff. You may write something. So that was a wonderful message. Throughout the speech, you at least grabbed my attention. I'm sure that audience were engaged in your speech because the way you delivered your speech, you have a persuasive style. So that's a strong point in your speech. So overall, congratulations for delivering such an amazing speech. Just work upon the vocal variety plus meaningful pauses. You will do wonders. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Imran Rana, for your wonderful evaluation. And Toastmaster Farina, I also have a name for your speech, and that was the unknown healer, because writing does that. Okay, so our last speaker was Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar Khan, and I am going to evaluate him. So my target speaker, Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar Khan, and the purpose of his speech was to learn different types of negotiation styles and strategies. Toastmaster Asghar, you started very well with a question towards the audience, which help to engage with the audience. Your hand was optimum. You was using your hand. You was sharing your personal story, and you was stressing on some of the keywords. That was a wonderful technique to do. Do you can you have used wonderful sentences like 8 days without any break, which was a good sentence for me for my ears. However, you can enhance your the speaking quality or delivery. First thing that you, you, you was sitting, if you would be would had been standing, so we can see your more body gesture. And here is some recommendation for you that try to complete your sentences and use better structures for them. And I feel that instead of just telling that about negotiation with the vendors, you can come up with the strategies that you use during those negotiation, that how you you engage, persuade, and the make a deal with the vendors. That would help us to learn that how the negotiation can be done in different style. So overall, your speech was good, and that's all from my side. Okay. So now we have done with our prepared speeches, and we have already done with the table topic evaluation. Now it's time for the spices of this meeting that give aroma, flavor to the meeting by their role. They all are vigilant, attentive, and always show commitment towards their duty to enhance the flavor of this meeting. And in 2022, in our very first meeting of Karachi Toastmaster Club, I would like to invite our first role holder, the grammarian and also the word master, DTM Tala bin Hamid, to please deliver his speech.
Thank you so much.
Yes, please continue.
No, you finish.
Okay, so please vote for the best evaluator in the meanwhile, and let's move towards the grammarian. Over to you, DTM Tala.
Thank you so much, Journal Evaluator. It is quite unfair to have speakers like DTM Sarfraz and Toastmaster Ali, Toastmaster Asghar, and now Toastmaster Farina in a single meeting, and then to ask someone to do grammarian role. It sucks the joie de vivre out of life, out of the meeting. But anyhow, I'll try my best. First, I will start with some usages that I felt could be better. First of all, in the business session, there was an overuse of the word outstanding. In the timer's intro, the timer used the pronoun he as the proxy to denote a speaker. Now, let me tell you one thing, the way things are going, pronouns like he and she are soon going to be outlawed. And secondly, it is good that you use they, because the speaker can be he or she. So in a situation where you don't know the gender or don't want to know the gender, you may use they. Secondly, someone used disabilities, and yes, I know it was used in a very sincere context and without any derogatory intent, but perhaps an alternative word can be worked out for this. Maybe because I've heard the use differently abled in lieu of disabled. So maybe different abilities or something similar. Someone said storm over a teacup, it should have been storm in a teacup. We are not the only culprits. We are not the only culprit. Should have been we are not the sole culprits, because only it's used for one person only. Due to time constraints, someone used due to time constraints at the end of their speech, which should not be used. And I'm using this forum to forever outlaw this phrase. There are other phrases too that I'm about to outlaw at Karachi Toastmasters Club using my powers as the president. Someone used blah, 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 which was perhaps, it can be used, of course, it's not an illegal phrase, but in the context it was used was not in keeping with the formal tone of the sentence. Another phrase that I'm about to outlaw is the topic of my speech. Please stop saying that. We know the topic of your speech. You don't need to tell us that the topic of my speech is this. Someone used huge, great, smile. So huge and great seem to be redundant in this. And then someone used, I have really struggled to come up with a topic. This is not something you should broadcast to the audience. Someone used furiousness, could have been fury. Someone used targeted speaker. I'd asked DTM Sarfraz. DTM Sarfraz, sir, have you heard the use of the phrase target speaker in your district or in your career?
Distinguished Toastmaster, the phrase or the target speaker is only used in the evaluation contest. During the contest, when the speaker is announced, they say we have one target speaker, meaning every contestant will listen to his or her speech and then evaluate. But for regular meetings, there is no target, because you're not being a target, you're just a speaker.
Yes.
So because I did not, yeah, that's right. I did not come with a target on my back. So when you say target speaker, that means you are expecting the evaluator to be throwing some arrows at the speaker.
That's music to my ears. That's music to my ears because, yes.
You should outlaw one more sentences and the conclusion of my speech.
Yes, it's about to come. But DTM Sarfraz, that was music to my ears, because to me, this phrase only makes sense in a contest. And in the context of a regular meeting, it sounds downright derogatory and mean and patronizing. And it stinks of District 105 and District 116, from where it came to our district, by the way. So better keep it there. Then someone used high expensive position, should have been high expensive price. We are done. We have done with 2021, could have been we are done with 2021. Escape is contender, should have been escape its predator. Body gestures sounds redundant to me. It could have just been gestures or body movement. Someone used something very good with the intersection of destruction and humor, but perhaps a more improved version could be with the interplay of destruction and humor. Someone used the word flowery in their evaluation. While this has positive connotations these days, it is used slightly in sarcastic tones. So maybe something more, for example, eloquent, or some other word could have been used. And someone used that's all from my side. That's also one phrase that I announced that is being banned today. Please find some other phrase to end your speeches or evaluations. I'm sorry. Anyhow, now on to good usages. And there are so many. I'm sorry for the length of this session, but that's how life is. Made to look like a complete idiot. Motivation was complete zero. Time heals everything. Wreaked death, destruction, and devastation. And a speaker used passed on in as a stand-in for dying or passing away, which is beautiful because it really, really illustrates a picture where you're picturing a person moving on into the next world. So it's really, really gentle and beautiful. You begin to take things for granted, look at the death around us, subsequently confronted and shamed by the teacher, woefully inadequate, implicit bias, hiding behind a policy document, deriding physical appearance, difference between literacy and education, rude and shocking revelation, before getting consumed by my existential crisis, dejected, I was captivated, enthralled. The lock and key were the assurance I needed, ready to combust at the slightest provocation. Tip of the iceberg, which is used by two speakers. So, like, it sounded like a poetry session today to me. Hold a grudge till eternity, fake lives of social media influencers, painful experience without any hurdle, beautiful weather, prioritize mental health, and here we are. Prove her metal, awestruck, and aroma and flavor to the music. And finally, quickly, the word of the day, joie de vivre. It was used by Toastmaster Asghar twice, once incorrectly and once correctly. Toastmaster Rabia used it twice. DTM Surprise used it once, and I'm surprised he did not use it in his speeches because he always manages to use the word of the day in his speech. Toastmaster Zahra Ibrahim used it, and Toastmaster Shamam used it. So with that, over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Talha Hamid, for your comprehensive premium report. And it is a wonderful way to start a meeting with so in-depth linguistic support. So let's move towards our next role holder, and that is about the and that is the R counter. And today our R counter is a mother, and she is Toastmaster Mariam Aftab Kidbai.
Thank you so much. Today's meeting was full with emotions, personal lessons, and joy de vivre, and arms. So now, let me go with my report. Talha bin Hamid, it was 2 R's and 3 arms. Hiba, 7 R's, 5 arms, and some filler words. Thanks to us, obviously. Asghar Saab, 5 R and 3 arms. Rabia Zeeshan, 1 R, 1 OK, and 3 arms. Imran Rana, 4 R, 2 arms, and few names disruptions were there. Wrong names. Anam Qadi, 1 R and 1 arm. Shamam Khan, 3 arm and 2 arm. Urusa, 2 arms. Ali Ashar Anjum, 3 R and 4 arms. Farina, 2 R's and 2 arms. And thank you. Now I got an idea that at the age of 12, I can give diary to them with a write on the back. Asghar Saab, 2 R's, 2 arms, 3 and Asghar Saab, sorry. Shamil, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and filler words 2 more times. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mariam Aftab. Okay, now let's move towards our timer for the timers report. And for that, I would like to invite Toastmaster Ramzan. Toastmaster Ramzan.
Thank you so much. I'll go quickly with the prepared speech timing. Toastmaster Hiba Khan, she took 10 minutes and 30 seconds and available time was 15 minutes. Toastmaster Sarfaraz Nazir, 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Asghar Ramzan, 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid, 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Toastmaster Farida Ansari, 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Then we had Toastmaster Shamsudeen Naiman, 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Then we had Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan, 5 minutes and 43 seconds. Then we had Toastmaster Asghar Khan, 6 minutes and 7 seconds. For table topics and prepared speech evaluation, please contact TTM Talha. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ramzan. Now let's move towards our last report, and that is a very important one. And to check our listening skills, I would like to invite our listener Toastmaster Zeeshan.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests, God help me. God help me. Who spoke God help me? DTM Talha. Okay. Loitering here and there.
Asghar.
Yes. Explicit bias.
Asghar.
Toastmaster.
ETM
Yes.
Naz.
No, TM Asghar. Okay. Basket full of dreams.
DTM Tala.
Yes.
DTM.
Trotted merrily along.
Talha bin Ahmed.
Yes. I am awestruck.
TM Farina
No.
and
DTM
DTM Tala.
TM Shammam. Okay. Writing is form of expression.
Toastmaster Farina.
Yes. Okay. Quite volatile. TM Farina. Okay. You kept me hooked.
Anam Kadri.
No. TM Rusa.
Yes.
I was captivated.
Toastmaster Farina.
Yes. Title of Smiling Lady.
Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan.
Yes. Okay. What are constitutional rights?
Shamsudeen.
Toastmaster Shamsudeen.
I don't
Yes.
know.
She tried to gain her composure. Composure, sorry. She tried to gain her composure. DTM Talha.
Oh.
Okay. Everyone has their own demons, their own monsters.
Again DTM Tala.
Yes. Shackles of habit.
Toastmaster
Asghar.
With wrong
Asghar.
pronunciation.
Yes. Okay. The power of vote is the most important element of our future.
Toastmaster Shamsudeen.
Asghar.
Yes.
Okay.
Easily sabotage.
Master Farina.
Yes. Okay. The delivery technique was wonderful with the pitch.
Someone from Evaluator, I guess.
Yes.
Don't know the name.
But what is the name?
Toastmaster Rusa.
No.
DTM Tala.
TM Shammam. Okay. I was enthralled. I was enthralled.
By?
I have no idea who the speaker was talking about.
Toastmaster Farina.
Yes. Okay. Mid-ring. Yeah, if I'm correctly pronouncing it. Mid-ring. Mid-ring, something like that.
Toastmaster Farina.
No.
Asghar.
DTF Talha. Submerged iceberg.
DTM Tala.
Toastmaster
TM
Asghar
Asghar.
and yeah.
Yes, TM Asghar. Mocking the physical appearance.
Toastmaster Asghar.
Yes. Okay, I found a spread on the chair motionless.
DTM
DTM
Sarfaraz.
DTM
Yes.
Sarfaraz.
Biopsy.
Again DTM Sarfaraz.
Yes. I lost my sister, but I also lost my link to
DTM
Karachi.
Sarfaraz.
Toastmaster Rabia Zeeshan.
No.
Sarfaraz.
One last. Also, I want my daughter so that I can have some rest. Let's see who guesses this one. Also, I want my daughter also I want my daughter so that I can have some rest.
Toastmaster Mariam.
Yes. I mourn the death of my friend.
Oh,
DTM
again,
Sarfaraz.
DTM Sarfaraz.
DTM Sarfaraz.
Yes. That's about it. Finished.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Evaluator, for your wonderful and very energetic listening segment. Now it's time for my general remarks as a general evaluator. So today we are having our first meeting of 2022, and fortunately or unfortunately it is an online meeting. So let's see what happened next. I joined this meeting at around 7. So before that, I don't know what happened. You believe that we started on time, or throughout the meeting, our Toastmaster of the day was brilliant. He was carrying the theme, and the speeches were full of emotion, zest, and zeal, and something to take to our home. And then the table topics were amazing, aligned with the theme. Then the table topic evaluation, all were amazing, very prepared. Then general evaluation, I assume that I did well, and all the evaluator were great, have integrity, honesty, and a sense of honesty to give a constructive feedback to the speaker, so we all can learn together. Last but not the least, the spices who give aroma to the meeting, the role holders. All the role holders were brilliant. They just stick to the meeting from start to the end, vigilant and dedicated. So I think that today's meeting was amazing, and it is just a start, and we have a great year ahead. That's all from my side. Sorry, DTM Dada, but that's all from my side. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ali Ashar Anjum. A new year. I hope your dreams take flight in this year. Time goes by so quickly. Let the coming year be the one where you find peace and contentment. I'm happy to announce that we have kept up with the KTC tradition of running late or running overtime. We're only about 35 minutes late. And now I'm pleased to get off my feet and sit down by returning the control of the meeting back to our club president, a Toastmaster and a gentleman, distinguished Toastmaster Talha bin Hamid.
Thank you so much, DTM Sarfraz. And yes, of course, we continue our proud tradition. This meeting was supposed to end by 9:15 and it's 9:39. So I believe we can lay the blame squarely on the shoulders of the VP Education, who lives in a fantasy universe while preparing the agenda. Yeah, right. So we talked about laying the responsibility on someone else's shoulders. So that's what we are doing today. But anyhow, yes. So first of all, everyone, please vote for the Big Four, best Big Four. The poll has been floated, and in the meantime, I will announce first the Critics' Choice Award. I've received the results from VP Education, and please note that VP Education is not the critic. VP Education compiles the Critics' Choice by taking the feedback from the secret judge and also by the evaluators according to how closely the project adhered to the objectives. So third place for Critics' Choice goes to Toastmaster Asghar. Second place goes to myself, and perhaps unsurprisingly, first place goes to DTM Sarfraz. So those are the results for the Critics' Choice. Madam Vote Counter, would you like to announce the results?
I've sent you the results.
You should outlaw
You
the
want me to
word
announce
madam.
them?
Yeah, I think the vote counter should announce, but again, yeah.
All right. So, okay. So we have a very unusual result tonight. So the best speaker is Toastmaster Sarfraz Nazir. Congratulations, Toastmaster Sarfraz. And the best evaluator is again Toastmaster Sarfraz Nazir. The best table topic speaker is Toastmaster Ali Asher Anju. And the best facilitator is DTM Tala, the grammarian for tonight. And guess who is the best Big Four?
Again, DTM
It's a hat
Sarfraz.
trick.
DTM Sarfraz. Yes, so tonight we have a hat trick with DTM Sarfraz winning 3 awards.
No, four awards.
I think that's unprecedented. Because,
oh wow!
Yeah,
Yes.
because I think
No.
I think
We should be thankful that DTM Sarfraz didn't speak on table topics. Plus, he didn't
Yes.
go for any role.
exactly. So yeah, thank you, DTM Sarfraz, for not doing a facilitator role and not speaking in table topics. So, but congratulations again. You know, people in Karachi Toastmasters Club are famously ambivalent towards the usual suspects. And I say that with complete responsibility. Sometimes they just vote because they don't want the obvious candidate to win. So congratulate DTM Sarfraz, you conquered that tendency so successfully that you won 4 times. And again, that is a testament to the quality that you delivered in the meeting today. So we are deeply thankful to you. Mr. VP Education, do we have some announcements before we wind up the meeting?
Yes, please correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to have a combined meeting, right, on 7th of January.
Yes.
So everyone gear up and grab your favorite role.
It's on 8
will be shared very soon.
It's on 8th of January, not 7th.
So
Saturday.
8 on Sunday, right?
It's on Saturday. 8th.
Saturday. 8th of January, Saturday. Please gear up. Grab your favorite role. The roster will be shared very, very, very soon.
Okay. With that, we bring the meeting to an end, and everybody, thanks for your participation, and have a great rest of the evening, whatever is left. Although DTM Sarfraz has a whole day ahead of him. So thank you so much, everyone.